Hey guys, mesmerizing, isn't it? For the record, yes, I was hovering, not the AI. I spent a lot of time just hovering, using the rudder to turn 90 degrees at a time, my own kind of endurance building challenge. And let me tell you, it worked. Hovering and getting into a hover are so much easier now. Learning the proper nozzle settings, staring at the HUD and understanding the symbology. I suggest everyone do this if you really want to master the hover after it's released. So, after my first video, I got a lot of questions and requests. The ones I could simply answer I did, but some I thought would just be better to show. So, for this video, I recorded nearly everything in VR to show you that not only does it work in VR, but it works well. In VR, most of the text is legible, at least anything important. Some of it's small, but that's just to keep scale with the text in the real deal. I wanted to show off three things. DMT, or dual mode tracking, which is basically like CCRPing dumb bombs, but it uses the ARBS, laser, and TV, or one or the other. The second is a short demonstration of the Litening II Pod, and last but not least, someone learned to vertical land. Oh yeah, I nailed it down, the approach, the hover, and the landing. So let's check these out. So for DMT, I really couldn't find much documentation on it. All I really had to reference was the pocket guide from the forums. But what I was able to ascertain is that it's very similar to CCRP in the A10C, only it feels like you have to be much more precise in your flying. Initially I thought I could drop bombs flying level, but if you cannot see your target in the HUD, it makes it really hard to line up the proper shot. What I've found is that lining up the line on the HUD with the target and your velocity vector give you a much higher chance to hit your target. But any small deviation, and I mean small, and you will miss. So let's take a look at this. So the process right now, and I say right now because this is early access, I don't know if it's going to change. You turn on your master arm, you set your master mode to air to ground, select the bomb you want to drop, set the drop quantity and fusing for the bomb, set sensor select DMT, move the ARBS TDC to your target, line up your approach, and roughly 10 to 15 seconds before your bomb will drop, dive enough to keep the target in your HUD and hold the pickle button. The bomb will release at the appropriate time. If you did everything right, you'll splash your target. For this attack, I wanted to gain a little bit more altitude to see the effect on precision. And success. Here's another success from a higher altitude. For this attempt, I went up to 22,000 feet to see if I could hit the target. What I found is that in order to keep the target in view, I had to have a dive angle of about 30 degrees, and in doing so, I almost oversped the airplane. And in the Harrier, this is a very bad thing. Just pulling up on the stick will most likely rip your wings off, so don't do this. In this pass, I wanted to see if I could quickly line up a target, and, well, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Now, for the Litening II demonstration, I just set up a quick mission to see if I could find a row of Su-27s to blow up. Since most of you know how the TGP works, I'm not going to get into detail, I'm just going to let this play. But the only difference I will point out over the A-10C is that aside from slewing it, it is 100% controlled from the OSB buttons on the display. So you'll need to bind these or be quick with a mouse. Okay, like I said at the beginning, I got vertical landings figured out. Aside from just practicing, I ended up finding some YouTube videos of the HUD of a Harrier when it was coming in for a vertical landing, and this allowed me to figure out what I needed to be doing with the nozzles. I don't really want to give too much away on how the procedure works because I don't know the proper procedure necessarily. The only word of advice I can give you is don't mess with the nozzles too much. Taking your hand off the throttle is bad. When you change the nozzle position, your thrust is either too much or too little, and you start gaining altitude or dropping like a rock. Anyway, here are some of my attempts where I left out one small detail, and that cost me a good landing.
Remember, if you don't use your brakes when vertical landing, you are going to have a bad time. Remember, if you don't put out your landing gear when vertical landing, you are going to have a bad time.
So to end out this video, I'm going to leave you guys with the best landing I've had so far. Hope you guys enjoyed the content of this video. If you did and want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified of new content, and I'll catch you guys next time.